feel like there's not a lot in the middle of the...
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Negative space, wow.
Okay, are we good to go?
We're good to go. Welcome back to the SketchPad Pod.
Woo! This is season 2, episode 7, and this is the podcast where we make art, drink tea, and talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Normally art related or semi-art related or something we're interested in, which we hope you'll be interested in too.
And if you're not, suck it up and listen anyway.
Love it. But it's been a hot minute since we filmed one of these.
Yeah, it hasn't been a hot minute since you potentially have heard one of these, but we pre-filmed over summer because Leisha has vamonosed to uni.
So we are currently filming in London.
Very exciting.
I've
come up to visit for the day.
Yeah, and we, rather than, going out, going shopping, doing something, we were like, we're going to film, because we're proactive.
Yeah, and we pre-filmed 6 episodes, and we've run out.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Guys, time flies.
Time flies.
When you're having fun. Honor's not sure about that last bit. But, should we do a quick little life update?
Yeah, okay, you go first.
As Honor said, I am in London, and I've been just doing, induction stuff. I'm, getting to know all my flatmates and hallmates.
You've gone to CSM.
Yes, I'm at
uni.
Central St Martin's, which is part of University Arts London, and I'm studying BA Fine Art. So I just walk into uni, and there's so many people that are so extra, wearing just the craziest outfits, and I'm like, you're a fashion student, you're a fine art student.
Finally fit in with all the very artistic.
No, I feel I'm like a baby fresher. I'm like my outfits are just. They're on one level, and then everyone else's are just...
Damn. And if you don't really know Leisha, her outfits are already on quite a level.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what everyone else
you can imagine. But no, everyone's really lovely, and I'm looking forward to properly getting on with some arty.
Yeah. Because you've been doing some induction stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, sitting in a lecture hall for 5 hours, telling me about health and safety and the advice services they have, while I'm sure important, is not enjoyable.
No, my friend had a 6-hour chemistry intro. It's
no, couldn't be
imagine
me.
Anything worse.
But it was me. So, yeah. But I think Honor had some exciting news.
Oh yeah,
What
passed my driving test. Woo woo.
Oh.
I've been driving since January, and for various reasons, my test kept getting pushed back from about June. I was planning on taking it and kept getting pushed back. So I've finally done it. And I was saying to Leisha, on my mock test, which was on Saturday, so I passed last Wednesday, it's Saturday today. So last week, I did a mock test and I got 3 majors and 17 minors.
Which, to make her feel a bit better, I did say that on my mock test, I got 2 majors and 15 minors. So both of us how did we pass first time? Who knows? But
yeah, and then I only got 3 minors on the actual thing.
Yes.
So I was like, winner.
Winner.
So that's very exciting. I have been driving around quite a lot.
She actually went to pick up the podcast stuff from my house back home. Just,
I saw your doggos this morning.
Oh my gosh, I miss them so much.
Mabel. So Leisha has
a Cocker Spaniel puppy.
And a
Springer Spaniel. Who's 9.
But honestly, Mabel has made Rosie younger.
Yeah.
Full on. So Rosie, she's always been very excitable and stuff, but I arrived and they're both jumping around, they're running, they're so excited.
So cute.
It's really cute. And And then they followed me up to your room. And I was like, no.
Yeah, they love trying to get into my room, which is not allowed. There's too many wires and art supplies and stuff. It's dangerous. We're not going to do that.
It's a hazard.
Yeah. But yeah, shall we actually get on with
Yeah, we
the
probably
episode?
should. Else we'll honestly waffle forever.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about Futurism.
I know.
As part of our art movement series.
Which we've had some good feedback so far, but we'd always like to hear more.
Yeah.
What you'd be interested in, but we're really enjoying it, so we're hoping you are too.
Yeah, so before we start talking about Futurism, we're both doing pieces of artwork that are inspired by futurist sort of techniques and stuff.
Exactly.
So, Alicia, what are you doing?
So I am doing a landscape painting, but in a sort of dash-like style, which is, I can show you if it will. Ooh. Is it gonna focus? I don't know, but it's a landscape. It's basically
It's a
King's
picture
Cross,
St
Pancras
King's
in
Cross.
London. But basically,
My geography teacher called it St Pancras, which
you're like
sort of
not
dying
quite right.
about.
But basically, it's meant to have lots of dynamism and movement, and also the futurists, as I will get into, they liked urban landscapes in the city. So this is inspired by The City Rises. Which is a famous painting, so you can check that out.
I'm doing something really stupid in that they really like movement and stuff. So I'm working with red tones and blue tones, red at the front of a series of movement pictures all overlaid. So imagine there's this really stupid video of me, I'm not showing it. I basically stand in the middle of Alicia's room and then just wave my arms over to the side. So if you imagine the first frame is going to be in red, and then the second frame where my arms have moved across a bit, the arms will then be in a more blue
colour, yeah,
to show the movement and stuff. So I think it looks a bit weird at the moment, but I don't know. It's inspired by movement, so
it's good. We like it. Also, if you're interested, although I realise my tea is not even in the frame, so let's just move it in. Me and Honor are trying some weird teas that I got during Freshers Fair.
Leash was like, "Do you want tea, or I've got some weird freebies?" And I was like, "Weird freebies? You're really selling that."
it.
I was like, "Oh yeah,
tasty." Yeah, no. So mine is blueberry and mint.
I haven't tried mine.
Yours
Should we do a taste test? Mine is...
Oh, it's soaking through the paper.
Onto your carpet. Fantastic. What was mine?
Jasmine
and orange.
ASMR right there, guys. Oh, she's not sure. It's fine. I probably wouldn't have drank that one anyway.
It does taste like jasmine, and it does taste a bit like orange. So, I mean...
There you go. What
it's not bad, to be fair. Can I try some blueberry?
Yeah.
Mine full on. It's like the bougie bags, so it's like one of those sort of silk style bags, like the triangle ones. Mine literally looks like they've just cut some grass and put it in.
We love that. You know, the bougier it gets, the more questionable it really is. But anyway,
yours doesn't really taste of anything.
No.
It smells of sort of herbal blueberry.
Yeah.
But you know, not bad.
We'll go with it.
It was free, so
exactly. And while we drink our bougie tea and try and make some futurist art, I'm going to
tell us about Futurism.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you some fun facts.
I arrived and I was like, I don't know what I'm painting because I researched the artists. So I was like, I don't really know much about the futurist movement. So I was like,
Yeah, we got up some paintings quickly and had a look beforehand. But I, if you do not know, I studied history of art A-level, and so I did a whole section on modernism, but I am not an expert, so obviously I may miss out stuff. But here you go, here's just a flavour of what Futurism is. So, Futurism, it started on the 20th of February 1909, and it ended in 1916. So, Futurism kind of took a little while to get off the ground, I would say, but the main founder, I would say, of Futurism is Marinetti, who is a poet, and he published a manifesto in a Parisian newspaper called Le Figaro. And in
also,
this...
can I just say, please understand that our pronunciations are absolutely perfect, and whatever we say is exactly how it's supposed to be said.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely on point.
We actually are both fluent in Italian.
Yeah. Le Figaro was the newspaper, and in this he described this new art style which would reject traditional art and celebrate the modern technological age. And then in this he coined the phrase futurism. So I know Honor will talk about this a little more, but basically this inspired artists and creatives back in Milan, so Italy, to apply these ideals to the visual arts. So it started obviously from a poet, but it moves to more visual artists.
I quite like the way that shows how art, like movements, are not just in one type of like media.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's represented through all types of like expressive. I'm going to turn my phone on silent. Apologies.
No worries. So it moved to Milan, and then later it would go to Turin and Naples. The first futurist aim was to capture the perception of movement, as Honor's trying to do here, speed and change brought on by the dawn of the mechanical age. So a big thing in this era is, the start of automobiles, so cars, but obviously also just the rise of big cities where you'd have loads of people, lots of like industry and like industrial buildings being made, and so there was always that like hustle and bustle of like newness and change.
In Italy as well, it was sort of a rejection of the classical Italian art. So I've got a quote here. Don't know who it's by.
We love
that one.
Okay.
We declare a new beauty, the beauty of speed. A racing motor car is more beautiful than the victory of Samothrace, which is a Greek sculpture.
I think that might be Umberto Boccioni, but
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You'll hear about
that
him.
is what I like to hear from an art student.
Yes. But so it was originally inspired by Cubists. Oh, have we heard of them before in a different episode?
We might
Is
have.
Alicia trying to make this chronological? She might be. The Cubist style used fragmentation, and so this then moved into the Futurist style, where they like to repeat objects' outlines to suggest the blur of movement. But then some artists went further, introducing dash-like brushwork. We're seeing it all connect, aren't we? So in 1910, the artist's official Futurist manifesto was released. And I mean, Futurism was really, it was like a call to arms basically of all people that were fed up with just the traditional values or lifestyle that was of like, because there was a lot of areas still in Italy that were based in agriculture, that were not so developed. So these futurists who were living in the big cities, they were like, this is the way of life, this is the new modern age, we need to call everyone together and we need to like rally the troops, create revolution. They were all about, starting protests and revolts and
like social change.
Yeah, and they just wanted to bring the dawn of this modern age. When this translates into the artwork, they're quoted to favour painting as a dynamic sensation, which is quite an interesting phrase. But so basically it's all about this need for change and this like vibrancy and movement. So in 1911, the first group show was in Milan, among which is likely the most famous futurist painting by none other than Umberto Boccioni. And this is called The City Rises, so that's the work that I'm inspired by today, and that is, if I can try and describe it in a few words.
We're good at this.
Yeah, so it's basically a landscape or a cityscape of Milan, and it has lots of workers, like horse and carts, in the foreground, but then in the background you see these big industrial factories and buildings, and you can see the smoke, but there's also lots of like bright colours and dash light brushwork, which creates this sort of flowing movement throughout the whole thing. So in some ways, people think that it basically is connecting that like traditional idea of mechanism, the horse and cart, the like the workers in the front, to that new age of the industrial buildings in the background.
That's
and
cool.
how it all works together to create this like modern city. This
We've got the workers in the front, buildings in the back.
no, nobody needed that on. Nobody needed
I
that.
full on sat for about a minute going, am I gonna make the joke? Oh my god, I'm not making it. I am making the joke.
She's making the joke. Oh gosh. Where am I?
You off so much.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm calling dash-like brushwork is actually known as, or it was inspired by the technique divisionism. Ooh, look at them technical terms.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, so basically it is where the image is made of stippled dots and stripes of colour that optically create a whole image. So it's not necessarily like you're not drawing outlines or you're not filling in blocks of colour. It's all about the way that you layer the colour in little dashes to create the image, as Alicia is attempting right now. So yeah,
That reminds me of, you know, in TV shows where they're like, here's one I made earlier.
Except on TV it normally actually looks quite good.
Can't relate.
Can't relate, couldn't be me. So in 1912 there's then an exhibition in Paris, so you can see how the movement is expanding. And in 1913 to 1914 the movement also expands away from just painting into sculpture and architecture and movement. So it was really like it was an immersive movement. It was almost, they wanted it to be a lifestyle or a way of thinking, and so they wanted to really introduce it to every aspect of the creative industry. I'm just laughing, these are meant to be figures. Can we tell? I don't know.
It's looking good.
Thank you. Honor's currently
Your one
got,
supporter, me.
Honor's currently got 4 arms on the go here.
And 2 heads.
Yes, love it. And so then in 1914, World War I breaks, and as you may remember from previous episodes, this is the thing with a lot of modern art movements, is that there was just a lot of, turmoil going on during this
War
period.
had a big impact on them.
It really does. But unlike some of the other art movements, Futurists were pro-war. They were all about it. They were like, yes, let's.
Can't relate.
No. Yeah. So this sort of slows down the production of artwork. However, if we're thinking about it, 1915 is when World War I breaks, but Italy remains neutral till 1915. So although there's a slow in artwork, they're not actually participating in the war. So what's happening is that they're trying to, they're spending a lot more time on their political efforts, trying to raise like up this like group of people who are like, we should fight, let's go, let's do this. And so they were more trying to publish works in newspapers, like do protests, that sort of thing. So there is slightly less artwork. And then by 1916, obviously Italy is now involved in the war, and the Futurists as advocates, most of them would have been signing up as volunteers. So
that's really interesting.
yeah, so that is where Futurist sort of peters out. It's like, it's an interesting movement because it starts in 1909, but it takes like a couple of years for it to get going, and then at the end it takes a couple of years for it to like peter out as well. But no, it's definitely it's a movement inspired by Cubism and Impressionism, and it shares those like techniques of bold, bright colours and trying to create a style of art which is new and innovative.
Initiative?
No, innovative. There we go.
I try my best to help, but really did absolutely no use.
And so, of course, it's something that we still, like in art, look at today, study about, and I'm sure that if you go into either the Tate or, modern art gallery, it wouldn't be hard to find a futurist artist somewhere in their collection. So there you go.
Right. Futurist artists such as the following people. So I focused on one guy who kind of was a main influencer of Futurism and its movement over to Italy. So, again, good pronunciations coming your way. Giacomo Balla was born in 1871. He had very little formal training and moved to... I can't read my own handwriting.
Oh, that's awkward.
It's never a good sign.
Somewhere in Italy? Or
Rome.
somewhere in Rome, yeah, there you
Lovely.
go.
Also, can we appreciate how I've just put my paintbrush down because I know I can't multitask. Yeah. So
I'm like now focusing on the artwork
just
again.
speeding ahead. So he moved to Rome in his 20s, and he was really influenced by Neo-Impressionism because he had a trip to Paris in 1900. This whole movement sort of moved over to Italy, I think, through him. Yeah. So he then imparted his knowledge about Neo-Impressionism onto Umberto Boccioni.
Yeah, good enough.
Which I was pronouncing earlier as Boccioni. And Gino Severini. So the three artists were influenced by Marinetti's literary futurism movement, as Leisha was saying.
Yeah.
This was an attempt to revitalise Italian culture, which obviously was known to be, you had the classic, all the churches.
Yeah, so you had Italian art, I guess, was in its heyday, was in the Renaissance, the Baroque period, classical. So it's lots of, grand paintings and white marble sculptures and these elaborate chapels and cathedrals and whatnot. So they kind of hated all of that and whatnot.
Pretty much were not keen. So Balla's work was unconcerned with modern machinery and violence, which is unlike most futurist work, which ties in what you were saying about the war.
Yeah.
But his focus is on speed and a sense of urgency, which is what makes it in line with the futurist movement and ideas. So one of his key pieces of work was the dynamicism of a dog on a leash.
Dynamism?
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
Which I'm just getting up now. Which sort of shows the way multiple...
it's definitely interesting.
You could either look it up, the dynamicism or whatever it was.
Dynamism of a dog on a leash. There we go.
Fantastic. And then, during World War I, he did a series of paintings in which he attempted to convey movement and velocity, which are potentially some of the most abstract futurist paintings. So he spent a lot of his life on this whole futurist train.
Yeah.
And he still remained faithful to the futurist style, even though many others had abandoned it. And in his life he also went on to explore graphic design, stage design and acting.
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool,
That's
isn't
so cool.
it? But interestingly, towards the end of his career, he actually returned to a more traditional style. So his lifelong career pursuit had been of futurism, but at the end, he moved away.
Wow.
So yeah, a little bit about him.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on futurism then?
Well, I find the actual work interesting, and I think it was very innovative at the time, and I think, you know, modern art these days probably would look different if not for them. However, their views, I mean, I'm not pro-war, so I don't agree with that. But also, futurism is definitely one of the modern art movements that wasn't inclusive to women. You won't find, I don't think, any or many futurist female artists, which is a shame.
Why was that?
They didn't. Despite being about a modern age and like a new sort of lifestyle, they seem to be very traditional in their like views of gender roles. So
fantastic!
We love that. So yeah, I think they still had a way to go in finding what that future would actually be. But no, I definitely think it's something interesting to study and important that we know about.
Yeah, similarly, I'm not a fan of war, so the whole pro-war thing, yeah, no thanks. And also, that just kind of sucks. I'm debating whether I show the video as a bonus.
Oh, I don't know. That is up to you.
It's so stupid. I'm gonna do it from a distance. If you're watching
on
enjoy.
YouTube, enjoy.
Oh no.
Oh, it's not going. All the audio listeners are like, what?
Basically, I just stand in the middle of Alicia's room and sort of just flop over to the side. It's like, you know, there's that video of those big blow up people that do advertising, and because of the airflow they kind of like wave around. That's essentially what I look like.
Love that.
Right.
But we shall leave it there. Thank you very much for watching.
Just a little thing for the future, because obviously Alicia's at uni, we're not sure how many episodes will be in this season, so we'll just let you know on Instagram.
Keep an eye out on our Instagram, and we will try and keep you updated. There might be like a week's break or something at some point, but we're going to try and get at least 8 episodes out. So you will definitely have one more after this, at least. Have a lovely week, and we shall see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.